Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Will Paterson. Today I'm going to be showing you in this video sponsored by Envato how I redesigned the Beans logo that you're seeing here. This is a luxurious? This is a luxurious coffee brand, and we're going to hopefully elevate it, make it better, and fix some little mistakes that I see that will just take this brand to the next level visually. I'm a graphic designer and a creative director here in our design agency, so hopefully you guys will learn something. If you do, subscribe. Let's get straight into the first part of the design process. First thing I did was obviously check out the design. It looks good. I can see where they're going with it. I can see what they're trying to do. The design has the air of luxury. That's what we want. If that's what the client is asking for and that's what the brief states, then that's what we want. And you've done that very well. There's a couple of ways to get the luxurious feeling, and that is wide tracking. So that means that the letters are spaced together away from each other. So there's more space in between those letters. Using serif typefaces, those are notorious for creating a luxurious and old-time feeling. And daintiness, like gentleness and grace within the typefaces, is really important as well. Now, what I love about this design is the fact that you've got the serif typeface in there without the serifs on, so it's very minimal as well. You're giving that minimal feeling. But there's a few problems of that. The first thing that I have an issue with is the A in the middle. This is the elephant in the room. The A in the middle looks way too overpowering, and it takes away the luxurious feeling. It doesn't have that air of luxury anymore. There's also a few typographic errors in here, and unless you're a type designer like myself or specialize in type design or just know, then you wouldn't spot these too easily when creating them. But what I will say is you've done a cracking job already. You set the foundations for something here. The first mistake I see is on the B. Obviously, it looks like a P with another bolt at the bottom. That's not how a B is constructed. The E is too symmetrical. There's actually a few issues with that, and I'll go into that during the process. Again, the A looks great, aside from it's just way too much positive space in there. The N is fine, but the S has got a few curvatures that are missing. The S is notoriously hard to design, so I don't blame you. It takes ages to learn how to create an S properly, and you've got the foundation of it right there. If you look at the mock-ups, they've done a great job in showing it through the color scheme. I really like that. It looks luxurious. So the first thing I did was I didn't want to alienate the brand. What I wanted to do is level it up. I did this not by choosing a typeface, but by going to my iPad and taking my knowledge extensive enough of typography and hand lettering, and I went ahead and started sketching out what I thought would work best. First things first, I grid it out. I need to make sure that I've got the ascender, the X line, and the descender line all there. Those two lines that I draw up first are called the X height. Obviously in Procreate, I can actually create a grid in there, which allows me to draw straight lines, but also I can draw straight lines very easily. It's much easier than using pen or paper. Normally though, I use Adobe Fresco for drawing logo types or going ahead and drawing anything really finesse, because Adobe Fresco has got tools that Procreate don't have, which allow you to be a bit more accurate. But because this is just a really quick redesign and really quick leveling up, I didn't want to go into the whole Adobe Fresco thing. As you can see, I'm not actually changing very much about the design. What I'm doing is I'm using my knowledge in type to make it better. So for instance, the B is a lot more of a structured B. What I've done is the B at the top, you know, the circular bit, I've made that a tiny bit smaller and I've given it better proportions. The E, I've made sure that they're not symmetrical all the way through. You can see me drawing a line down the right-hand side, and what that does is it allows me to push back one of those top square, that top rectangle of the E. That gives it an overall better sense of an E. With the A, I did something drastic. I didn't like the way that you went ahead and created the A. It looks a bit too blocky. So what I decided to do is take that block away and give it more of a luxurious feeling. I took it away, then I worked on the N, and then the S, which is the bane of any type designer's life, is creating an S. Drawing those things are difficult, let alone trying to do it very quickly like I've done. Once I've done that, I go ahead and I change the spacing, I changed basically the left and right side bearings, which is the space in between each individual character. Then a bit of inspiration strikes, and with the A, I didn't like how it was just too minimal. It just looked generic. So what I decided to do was create a line which would be the crossbar of the A, which would come up, and that would give the logo type some uniqueness to it, as well as it be very centered and balanced throughout the whole logo design. Now that I've drawn the logo in the iPad and it's ready to go, I scan it into my computer and bring it into Adobe Illustrator. This is the vector program that I use predominantly. I create some guides, I do some cropping of the image. What I do is I actually use that image as a tracing for the pen tool, but I'm using a different kind of pen tool, and it's from Astute Graphics. This is called InkScribe, and it's just basically like a plugin inside of Astute Graphics, amazing list of plugins that I use as the pen tool because it's quicker and it's got little functionalities that Illustrator's pen tool doesn't have. I go ahead and create the B. Now the way that type works, especially in logo type design, is that everything is made from components, and those components are what give the look like it's consistent. The first thing I do when I bring in the logo type is I start to sketch out the letters through using the rectangle tool, simply. I draw the rectangle tool and I find the appropriate width and height. And with that, I copy it over across all the other areas of the logo type with the same width and height and everything else. This makes it super consistent, copying certain components over throughout the logo type. And we do this all the time in logo type design and logo design. It makes everything really consistent, using and reusing the same shapes over and over again to create a different element. Now, the trick to a good serif logo type is making sure the thins are the same thinness and the thicks are the same thickness and the angles are all the same all the way throughout, and the spacing is there. Now, it can take time, but Adobe Illustrator allows us to copy exact same shapes over and over again and make sure that we've got the exact angles that we need. So having this software really does help. I go ahead and I create this logo type design, just as a basic one. And I'm thinking, it doesn't look right. Let's change the tracking. So I'm changing the tracking. I'm also going ahead and with E, I'm expanding that and making it wider because it doesn't fit correctly. Remember, if I'm designing a font, it's nothing like this. A font design is a whole different beast. I'm only focused on these letters right now. Then we get to the S and I'm sort of messing around with this S. I come to a point when I'm vectorizing this that I'm not going to be able to do it in time. Obviously, I've got limited time in creating this logo design, but I wanted to make sure it looked good. So I carried on working and I got to a point of where I thought it was satisfactory. Now, option time. This is where I start to think about what to do with the A. Now, the A could have that identifying mark in it. So it could have the whole block of color, but that takes the balance out and it doesn't look good. It's not really unique, it just looks off-putting to me. I could just take it away and do what I've done in prior logo designs where it's just a really minimal A. But again, that looked a bit too pretentious to me and it didn't have any sort of vibe for coffee. So what I decided to do was take that line that we drew and I created, just with a stroke, this curve going up the A. Now with that curve, I was gonna think, I could just change the thickness so it's just one continual monoline going up that A. But what I did instead is I used the variable width tool, Shift W. What I found was that accidentally, it created an organic look to this design. It also looked like steam as well that comes off from coffee. Now, obviously, creating a coffee brand is super difficult now, or even coffee logo assets. They're really difficult because you don't want to be cliche. Everyone's got a coffee bean, a coffee mug. It's too much. But I ended up liking this idea of having this stroke going all the way through and it looking like steam. It didn't look overtly illustrative, but it gives an air of uniqueness to the design and it's perfectly balanced throughout. I ended up creating this effect where you just delete part of the A, which makes it look like it's overlapping. It just gives a bit more uniqueness and identifying mark within the A itself. Could be overcomplicated, but I think it actually adds more to the design than it takes away. After that, I start to look at it, I scale it down and make sure it can be read when it's scaled down. And I'm really liking this. The next part is obviously going to be the presentation style of this, but also more of an identifying packaging mark. What I loved about the first design, the actual original design of this, was the packaging. And that's one of the shortfalls of a lot of designers when sending logos into the subreddit or even to their clients, is the asset part, mock-ups. So what I did was I wanted to create some sort of pattern in the background. Now, how do we do that for a luxurious coffee brand? My thoughts were, what if we did a coffee stain, like an abstract coffee stain that looked graceful, but also kind of random. So I created this circle and I warped it and I basically just duplicated it multiple times and it gave this cool shape. And I've seen the shape many times before, but I thought it looked really good. And the story behind that is that it's a luxurious coffee mug. When you put your coffee down, that's what it would be. That would be the brand pattern for the overall packaging. Now onto the mockup. Now mockups aren't just this thing that you need to do because designers tell you to. They're actually a really good tool to make sure your design works, whether you can see it in real life or not. Now Envato, who are sponsoring this video, want to let you guys know that they've got over 50 million assets on their website that you can download. In fact, this mockup that I'm using, I downloaded from Envato Elements. They've got a really simple license, so you just click on a project that you're working on, download it, and that license will continue and you'll be allowed to use the work even when your subscription with Envato Elements ends. It's not just mockups they have like scene generators, web templates, sound effects, video templates, After Effects templates, logo reveals, logo template, everything that you can think of is on Envato Elements. If you follow the link in the description and in the top comment of this video, that will take you to the annual subscription. And if you get the annual subscription, you'll get 50% off. So you're getting 50 million assets for less than $20 a month. Pretty wild. So go ahead, support the channel and check out Envato Elements. Click the link down below. And from that asset, I actually started creating this pattern around it. I wanted to see what this coffee brand could look like. What I found was that obviously the design looks good. There's a few things missing from it. I think it's not ornate enough. It's very minimal in itself, but it does speak a lot about coffee, in my opinion. And obviously a logo design is what you make it at the time. You can try and fit it into a brand and make it appropriate. But for this brief, what I think the original user did was really well done. But hopefully what I've shown you here today will help elevate the design that you've created and make it better for the luxurious space. You can see that pattern all the way around that coffee mug. That mock-up is looking pretty good. I changed the colors. I made sure it looked all really nice all the way through. That gold color I really liked, but I changed the packaging to be a bit more minimal than the first original one. So there you have it. Hopefully I've elevated the design. I think I have. Again, you guys are vocal enough, so let me know your thoughts down below and I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you did enjoy this video though, click subscribe. If you liked it, press the like button and let me know your thoughts. See you in the next video. Goodbye.